Do you work in tech and are highly compensated, but are getting frustrated with how much you're paying in taxes? Are you looking at some other options, such as moving to states where there's no income state tax, like Texas or Florida or Nevada? Well, the good news is that there are some other options out there that will allow you to stay in California or whatever state that you're living in, maybe New York, where there's high taxes, but you can still enjoy the benefits that you like with living in the current area that you're in. My name is Pesta, CEO and Certified Financial Planner at Pesta and Pesta Wealth Management, located in Cupertino, California, just about 5 minutes from the headquarters of Apple. In today's video, I'm going to go over some solutions that will help get you to the end goals that you're probably looking forward to. We help a lot of our clients here in Cupertino and surrounding cities in Silicon Valley with primarily clients that work for tech companies. And the great thing about working for some of these tech companies is that the projects they work on are cutting edge. And a lot of the work they do, they find very fulfilling. The problem is that a lot of the income that they're getting from these jobs are all ordinary income. Another problem with these jobs is that they're not really able to find ways to reduce their income taxes like they might be able to do in other occupations or other situations. Well, good news. In today's video, I'm going to go over a couple different strategies that can help you do this. One of the things that we've been helping our clients with specifically is talking them through how ultra high net worth clients like themselves are able to look at their full picture and start moving their income that's taxed as ordinary income into ways that are taxed as long-term capital gains. And once we've done that, the next strategy is working on ways to defer those long-term capital gains taxes. So let me start by sharing an example of one of the clients that we're working with recently, so you can kind of see how this comes together. One of our clients is working at Apple, married to his spouse. They actually both work at Apple, and they've been there for about 10 years. So they built up pretty sizable net worth, and they're both earning pretty good incomes, I would say. The problem is that most of their compensation is in W-2 income, as well as their RSUs that continue to vest. And when those RSUs vest, it's just more ordinary income that gets stacked on top of their W-2 wage. So what are we doing to help them? Well, we're looking for ways to help shift their ordinary income into ways that are taxed as long-term capital gains. So one thing that we're doing is we're offering them tax-aware hedge fund strategies that look to provide ordinary income tax losses while still growing the portfolio in a way that is uncorrelated to other types of investments or the market in general. So for example, these tax-aware hedge funds are able to produce losses each year consistently, which can then be offset against their W-2 wage income and also their RSUs that vest. So for example, if they were able to invest about $1 million into this strategy, on average, this strategy would produce about $300,000 in ordinary income losses, which they could then offset against their W-2 wage income or against their RSUs that vest. So for example, this client, looking at all of their income sources, makes about $600,000 in income. And so if they had this strategy in place, they'd be able to reduce their taxable income from about $600,000 down to $300,000. Can you imagine what difference that would make if, for example, this client's in about the 50% tax bracket between federal and state? They were able to reduce their income by about $300,000. That would save them about 150 grand in taxes. So that's one strategy we're doing. Another strategy that they originally came to us was that they love Apple, they love the company, but they're a little bit concerned about having about 90% of their net worth in one company, and knew that there were also going to be plans for them to need to access this Apple stock to pay for things like home renovations, new cars, and other things like that. So in order to help address this, we're also able to use another tax-aware strategy, and it's a long-short strategy where you're basically going long stocks you think are going to do well and you're shorting stocks that you think are not going to do well. And the reason why you can do this is because it not only has a good track record of outperforming its benchmark by about 3% per year, it also is a way for you to accumulate significant tax losses, which you can start accruing now, so that when you do have that liquidity event down the road, for example, needing money for a down payment or even paying cash for that next home or paying for kids to go to college or buying that new car, you have these tax losses that you can then use to offset against the capital gains taxes that would be due when you sell that Apple stock. And since they've been working there for 10 years, their cost basis is super low, so most of the sale on that Apple stock is all going to be long-term capital gains. So that's the next strategy that we were helping implement for them. And then down the road, it's important too to look at their risk tolerance and make sure that these investments line up well with their risk tolerance. So one of the cool things about the long-short strategy is that you can actually increase the level of risk or decrease the level of risk by determining how much leverage you want to use. So the more leverage you're using, the potential more risk, the potential more tax losses that can flow through, but also the potential increased return. And then within the core portfolio of this strategy, you can also pick more aggressive investments or less aggressive investments depending on your risk appetite. So for example, let's say that you've been working at Apple for 10 or 15 years and you've done a great job in saving, but now you really want to take some risk off the table. You could actually fund this long-short strategy and do something very conservative like short-term treasury bills, or you could use a strategy with even more moderate risk like 60% stocks, 40% bonds. A lot of other clients too that work in tech are pretty entrepreneurial, and so maybe they're getting involved in a startup, maybe they're getting involved in other venture opportunities, or maybe that they are not even working at Apple, but they're working for a private company that just did an IPO. These events tend to increase wealth significantly, but it also causes a big tax liability. So in this instance, it would also make sense to start using this long-short strategy to help prepare for that. So one of the things that you could do is you could say, okay, I'm going to start putting money into this strategy in anticipation of my company to, possibly go public and get ready for that liquidity event. Others are more interested in starting a new company, and they might have an exit plan to either sell that company to a strategic buyer or sell it to a private equity company or even go public. And once that liquidity event happens, there could be some long-term capital gains and significant long-term capital gains. So this is just another way to prepare for that. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how the situation would apply directly to your situation, for compliance purposes, I can't go into the exact strategies and how they work. So click the link below to schedule a meeting, and we can set up a meeting and go over your situation together with our team and really see if these strategies would work well for you. Another reason why we'd want to set up a meeting is because some of these strategies have different net worth requirements, and so not all these strategies will be available depending on that. However, our goal is really to provide value and help you leave in a better spot. So even if we can't work together, hopefully the goal is that you come away with some good strategies and some good helpful advice. So again, click the link below to schedule a meeting. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to help answer those. Or if you have any other ideas that you want to go over or questions you have, again, leave those in the comments below and that'll help me draft future videos down the road. So thank you so much and hope you have a great day.